India is known for its hospitality. Atithi Devo Bhava. A guest is akin to God, and we are no stranger to this philosophy. Let us welcome our guest with due respect and honor. I now request Professor Sanjay Palvekar sir to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Manali Kshirsagar ma'am.
It's different one. Okay.
Place by Shelley.
Okay. Because there are 12 books I heard.
Within the one.
Okay, within the one. As you please. Thank you so much.
I would like to request Dr. Vishakha Joshi ma'am to welcome Advocate Ulhas Aurangabadkar sir, President of Dharampet Education Society. Thank you, sir. Now, I would request Professor Sanjay Palvekar sir to welcome Professor Shamrao Korekti sir, Dean Humanities, RTMNU. Thank you, sir. My humble request to Honorable Vice Chancellor ma'am to welcome our keynote speaker, Dr. Archana Chaudhary ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I again request Palvekar sir to welcome Gautam sir. Thank you, sir. Further, I would request Milindra Sukhdevi sir to welcome our Head of the Department of English, PGTD, RTMNU, Professor Sanjay Palvekar sir. Thank you, sir. My gracious request to Dr. Manjushri Sardeshpande ma'am to kindly welcome Dr. Vishakha Joshi ma'am, Principal of R.S. Mundle Dharampet Arts and Commerce College, Nagpur. Thank you, ma'am. I request all the dignitaries to be seated. It is often quoted, "Sky is the limit and there is always room on top." Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Manali Kshirsagar ma'am, who is a distinguished academician, has proved her mettle by becoming the first ever woman Chancellor of Rashtrasanta Tukadoji Maharaj, Nagpur University. It is my humble request to you, ma'am, to address today's gathering.
At the outset, I offer my tribute to Sri Aurobindo, Ma, and Rashtrasanta Tukadoji Maharaj. And incidentally, I came to know that it is the birthday of Ma today. So it is the birth anniversary of Ma. And I welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. Dr. Archana Chaudhary ji, who is the keynote speaker. Our guest of honor, Advocate Ulhas Aurangabadkar ji. Our guest of honor, our own Professor Shamrao Korekti ji. And Madam Dr. Vishakha Joshi ji, and the organizer Professor Sanjay Palvekar ji. I acknowledge the presence of dignitaries in the audience, and I welcome you all to this celebration, which is very, very unique, because I think, as Gautam ji said, RTM Nagpur University is the first university to host such kind of celebration, which is historic and momentous in itself. We are celebrating 75 years of Sri Aurobindo's Savitri. I think I am not the authority to really speak on this particular topic, but then still I try to at least understand something about the program and the theme of the program, whichever I am attending, and I keep attending a lot of them. Maybe on an average 3 programs a day is what I am doing since I became Vice Chancellor. So I have to break the tradition, because normally Vice Chancellor is supposed to be the president of any program. That means 1.5 hour minimum guaranteed to sit through the program. If I really want to attend 100% of the program, then it would take me 1.5 hours every program, and then there are so many programs, one after another. So now I've decided that I won't be the president of any program, so far as possible. So then I break the tradition, and then I come and I try to offer my wishes, congratulate the organizers for taking this up. I would like to quote the incident. It must be hardly 10-12 days of my appointment, and I assume charge as Vice Chancellor of Nagpur University. Gautam ji approached me, and then he had come with the book Savitri, and then that is when I came to know really. I didn't know about it, that this is such a wonderful, how many 24,000 lines, blank verse written by Sri Aurobindo, but originally which is only of 300 words. And then this was something that dawned on me, from 300 words to, if you are getting to 24,000 lines, and like it took you 12 volumes, and those are into the same, I guess. I think, I just can't imagine what it must be. He has given it to me, I tried to read, but then I think I'll have to take help of AI to take the summaries of it, because I cannot read more than 10-12 pages at a time. So, but then thank you so much for coming with this suggestion and honoring the work of Sri Aurobindo. And I think then only I had decided, and I had promised him that I will definitely take up this, and we will definitely organize the 75 years celebration of Savitri. And then I asked Dr. Palvekar sir, and thankfully, as Gautam ji said, तुमची टीम फार चांगली आहे आणि तुम्ही त्यांची नजर काढा. माझी टीम खरोखर चांगली आहे, पण त्यांना नजर नाही लागू शकत, कारण one who is very very positive, no one can do anything wrong to them. So I think my team is really great, and my team, including myself, we are really really positive. So, and we are blessed. So I think this will continue, and we'll come out with many such programs. Thank you very much, sir, for honoring my request to take this up and organize this program. And this is, I think, the real tribute to Sri Aurobindo. And it's so kind of all the dignitaries to have accepted our invitation. And of course, I am thankful to R.S. Mulyadharampet Arts and Commerce College, Nagpur, for agreeing to come on board with us. And I think that is how we could increase the reach of the audience, because more people, if they are listening to such kind of great things, just like the complete rendition of Vande Mataram, which has now come as a circular that in every program you have to mandatorily play this particular rendition, but which is complete, and people haven't yet able to recall it in totality. So I think this is how people will start remembering it completely, and that will be the great honor. So I think if we keep on listening to good things, this is only the practical sanskar I believe in, and kudos to such kind of initiatives, and thank you Gautam ji for coming up with this idea, this suggestion. It is really invaluable. And Madam Chaudhary, I am also very touched to know that you are actually a doctor by profession. But then, what do I say? I am speechless that you are going to offer your thoughts on Savitri, which is really not very easy, because I think whatever little I could read about Savitri was, it's much more than what it looks on the surface of it. It's a deeper level of spirituality, and the way Sri Aurobindo must have actually thought about it, and the way he has come out with 24,000 lines from 300 verse, which is a small episode, but then that itself needs a lot of wandering going on inside your own heart and mind, and I think that only results into such a big blank verse, which is setting a history itself. And I think it's a big milestone because this is the longest poetry. So we definitely are known for creating histories. So in IKS also, I think we should include Savitri, and that will be again something, what we can say, a medium because in IKS or through IKS, we are able to integrate and include a lot of good things about Indian history. So I think this will also be one of the milestones if we try to include it in our IKS. So I think this is my latest thought. So I think now I would like to understand that how we can include it into IKS. But then thank you once again, everyone who's responsible for organizing such a beautiful celebration, I won't say program, and I wish you all the best. And I would have loved to sit with you all and to know more about Savitri, but then can't tell. There are some occupational hazards and I have them from day one, and I don't know how long it will go on, but then of course these occupational hazards has a bright side to it that I come to know about so many topics which otherwise you don't get to know. So because right now I am coming from Pali, so I learned that okay, Pali is a Prakrit, that is a group of Indo-Aryan languages which are natural and derived. So this is an addition to the knowledge, and this one is of course an addition to the knowledge. So whatever is an addition to the knowledge, I mean there's nothing wrong in taking one more perspective and one more dimension regarding knowledge. So thank you so much to all of you for coming over here, showing your interest, because what we need these days is these type of celebrations. Thank you so much.
Never bend your head, always hold it high. Look the world straight in the eye. Ma'am, each and every word of yours has the potential of creating future leaders. Thank you, ma'am. A great leader inspires others to dream more, learn more, and become more. I would now invite Head of the Department of English, RTMNU, Professor Sanjay Parvekar sir, to deliver his introductory remark.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dean Humanities, the keynote speaker, Dr. Archana Chaudhary ma'am, guest of honor, Advocate Ullas Aurangabadkar sir, President, Dharampet Education Society, the principal of Dharampet Arts and Commerce College, Nagpur, Vishakha Joshi ma'am, and all the, Gautam sir. I feel like Gautam sir is part of me, so I do not. And all the distinguished faculty members, head of the departments, research scholars from Dharampet and Department of English, all my students, and all the invitees. I welcome you all on behalf of Department of English and R.S. Munde Dharampet Arts and Commerce College, Nagpur. And thank you for coming together to celebrate the momentous moment, historic moment. And this occasion, this celebration is going to be historical as well. So this is historic as well as historical. Historic because we are the first university and the college, Dharampet Arts and Commerce College, together celebrating this milestone. Milestone because 75 years of its publication since 1950, 1951. And each one of you, each one of us going to be a part of history now. Savitri, Madam, talked about that. She also introduced Savitri very well. But try to understand the man who wrote this poem for over 4 decades, 40 years, writing, rewriting, revising, editing. So how much of trouble that he took for writing this masterpiece. This is literary masterpiece, I say. And the story, though apparently it seems to be mythological, because it is the mythology of Savitri and Satyavan. But for me, this is an allegory of infinite human potential and feminine power. Savitri, if you go through it, you will find that each word is very carefully selected and chosen. Each line is meticulously crafted. And when you go through it, and you will find that you just chanting incantation. The words have magical power that create a kind of positive vibration inside you and around you. So this is the greatness of this unique epic poetry that Aurobindo had composed for over 40 years. So I am not going to talk about Savitri, I will just talk about Aurobindo, because Madam is going to deal with Savitri. It should not overlap. Not going to trace for Madam's career. But Aurobindo's life itself is very unique. When you read about him, when you try to understand the incident that took place in his life, you just think and pause in disbelief. You cannot believe it. Aurobindo's father wanted him that he should be unaffected by Indian culture and Indian philosophy, Indian kind of thing. And so he left him in England. And he was so bright, so brilliant, you'll find he mastered almost all the European languages. Almost all the European languages. And surprisingly, Aurobindo knew even Marathi. Marathi and Gujarati. He passed ICS examination then held in England. ICS, Indian Civil Services. But his whole interest was in philosophy and literature. Philosophy and literature. He could not continue that. And then Satyajit Maharaj of Baroda state then. He went to England, he met Aurobindo. He was so much impressed by Aurobindo that he wanted him to be at his service. So, Sir Aurobindo became professor and then principal of Baroda College, then Baroda College, now that is the university. Then he moved to Calcutta, now Kolkata, and we find that the political condition in India, the partition had happened and there was total unrest amongst the people. And willingly, he had to enter into politics. Sir Aurobindo had to enter into politics. And he became revolutionary. Revolutionary not in the sense that all other underground revolutionary used to do it. But he used his pen to write against the British oppression and exploitation. British oppression and exploitation. And he wrote in Vande Mataram, that was the newspaper, daily newspaper in English, Vande Mataram, which was, launched by Bankim Chandra Pal. But then one incident happened. Because of the mistaken identity, the underground revolutionaries, they wanted to kill the local magistrate. But then 2 women were killed. And there was total crackdown and raid on the places where revolutionaries used to work. They found out and 19 people were arrested and Sir Aurobindo was one of them. Sir Aurobindo did not do anything. He didn't believe in that, which Gandhiji did not approve of. But then he very strongly, writing against the British in the newspaper Vande Mataram, so the British have thought that he must be the brain behind that. And one surprising thing again happens while he was in Alipur jail. He had the revelation. Aurobindo had the revelation of divine consciousness. And then, after coming out of the jail, he decided that he will not live in British India. He preferred French India, Pondicherry. He went to Pondicherry and then entirely devoted his life for the upliftment of humanity. Upliftment in the sense it's not the way normally people do. His way was altogether different, completely different. And you might have heard about integral yoga. It's all about divine consciousness. It's very difficult to explain over here, but then the person has infinite possibility or potential. You rise above the ordinary human being and reach the state where you will have divine power. You will find divinity in yourself and not simply going up, but that you have to apply in practical life, day-to-day life. That is material work. He did not deny the material work as others did. He was so avid reader, almost all the philosophy, all the schools of Indian philosophy, he read. While in England, he got familiar with Western philosophy. And he tried to see the possibility whether we can synthesize Western and Indian philosophy. But he had his own unique way. All the philosophy, Indian philosophy, I said, right from, all the Vedas, 108 Upanishads, then all Darshans, Vedantic philosophy from Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujan, Madhvacharya, then Ramanand, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was familiar with everything. And he wanted that there has to be unity in humanity. Unity in humanity. And once you just acquire that faculty or divine consciousness, then your mind is tabula rasa. Your mind is blank slate and you can see everything very clearly. You can see only human being, no social constructions, no division. And this is what he tried to practice all through his life and tried to enlighten the people on their subject. And one very interesting thing that happened. The mother, sir said, Ma, she established ROV near Pondicherry, about 13 or 15 kilometers away from there. 7 kilometers. And you will find the people from around 60 countries there living together, transcending the boundaries of nationality, race, religion, gender, men and women, living together, forgetting all these boundaries. So that is a kind of experiment that we also can live in harmony, without division. We can live in peace, in harmony, and with cooperation. So such was the power of Sir Aurobindo. Whatever he imagined, or whatever he wanted on practical ground, on the ground, material world, he did not, say that, this world is Maya kind of thing. This world is real. This material world is real, and on this soil, in this material world, we have to create the kingdom of God, life divine. This is what he wanted. So this can be summarized. This can be summarized in Rabindranath Tagore's poem, where the mind is without fear, head is held high, where the words come from the depth of truth, where the clear stream of thought is not lost into dreary deserts and of dead habit, where the mind is led by D means God, into ever widening thought and action, into that world mind, Lord, let my country away. So this, if we could bring into practice, then we can say that this is going to be real tribute to Sri Aurobindo. So with this word, I end my speech. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Brevity is the soul of the wit, and we have just witnessed it. Parvekar sir certainly rules the minds of the audience with his apt choice of words and precise speech. Thank you, sir, for a well-calibrated deliverance. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more and become more, you are a leader. We, the fraternity of R.S. Muralidharampet Arts and Commerce College, Nagpur, are privileged to have one such leader who inspires us and leads us on the path of success. I would now invite Advocate Ulhas Aurangabadkar sir, President of Dharampet Education Society, to enlighten us by his words of wisdom.
The keynote speaker of today's celebration, I would say, Dr. Chaudhary. We are really privileged to have a practicing doctor to deliver a keynote address on a Mahakavya which has completed 75 years. Other dignitaries on the dais, Principal of my college, Dr. Vishakha Joshi, Vice Principal Dr. Manjushri Sardeshpande, my guide and the person who is working with me in the Dharampet Education Society, Dr. Kumar Shastri sir. Other dignitaries were present in the audience, and the students who have gathered and truly in large numbers to join this celebration. I know that I am not a fit person to speak about Mahakavya or the person who has penned that particular Mahakavya. Gautamji probably was well aware of that. And a few days back he came to me, he first rang me and he came to my society's office, offered that Mahakavya to me with the sole and a pious intention that I and my team has been really doing well in organizing all such functions. Honorable Vice Chancellor was there, and I recollect that after she assumed the office as the first Vice Chancellor of this university, I had an occasion and I had a privilege to share the stage with her with my science college. So our education society and my colleges are definitely there to participate and cooperate in any event, in any celebration, any function, workshop, whatever it may be, in whatever kind it may be, which leads one to gain the knowledge about history, about literature, about culture. And with that intention, when I was requested by Dr. Manjushri Sardeshpande that such and such type of function is to be organized, there was no question of saying no. Accordingly, we are here, and as a part of the organizer, I am addressing I know. And at the outset I said that I am not a person to speak anything about Mahakavya. The only thing that I could gather in few days, the greatness of Aurobindo is looking at a particular thing which probably all of us, or for centuries or for decades, was taught. But he's thought it, he has seen towards it from a different perspective. Everybody of us know, and the society knew, the story of Satyavan Savitri. Then we go to, or many my sisters and mothers, they pray on Vada Purnima, everybody knows. But that particular mythological, Honorable Vice Chancellor has said, that particular mythological story has been looked from an absolutely different perspective by the Aurobindo. And according to me, this is the greatness of Aurobindo. Sir has spoken a lot about Aurobindo and he is an authority about that. But according to me, this is the greatness, and we are really fortunate to have such great people amongst us. May not be that we have seen them, but we are feeling them. So this greatness one must admire, and from that perspective we will be guided by Dr. Chaudhary Madam about this Mahakavya. So I again welcome you all, and I really thank you all for having heard me for 5 minutes, although I may misfit to speak on this dais. But I thank you all. Honorable Vice Chancellor, while leaving this podium, said that it is because of occupational hazards that he is required to leave and she will not be able to attend or to listen to Dr. Chaudhary. It is because of professional compulsion that I am also required to leave. It may not be occupational hazard but professional compulsion, because today, being a working Saturday, the courts are open, the courts are working, and I will be required to attend the court at 2:30. So after Dr. Chaudhary starts, it will be unfair on my part to leave the audience halfway. So before Dr. Chaudhary starts her lecture, the permission of all the organizers and the guests, and especially Dr. Chaudhary, is sought by me. And firstly, I am seeking 1 year's adjournment from Gautamji, and I am seeking the leave to leave the premises without listening, for which you have all gathered. Thank you.